got $50 in your bank account, it'll take you to places that you didn't know that you even had.
Your sister allows you to set up a shed in her parking lot.
And I have never been more motivated than I am right now in this very moment.
Like, out of all the things you're gonna start, why would she say start an ice cream shop? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. I want to give a huge shout out to our newest partner, Hope Plumbing. Now, Hope Plumbing serves Indianapolis and the surrounding areas when it comes to all things plumbing, obviously. That includes sewer and drain, water heaters, water softeners, leak repairs, sump pump, gas lines, plumbing inspections, reverse osmosis system installation, router services, downspout installation, and septic tanks. What don't these guys do? Whenever I have trouble, I make sure to call Hope Plumbing. They always do a great job on my house. They're going to do a great job on your house. Go to hopeplumbing.com to check them out. Today, I'm joined by Janzin Cripe, founder of Chill's Delights, an ice cream and donut shop in northern Indiana that has gotten tens of millions of views on TikTok and across social media and has become a must-visit destination in northern Indiana. Janzin was raised on a farm in small-town northern Indiana, North Manchester to be exact. Go Squires. Come on. He grew up surrounded by a family of entrepreneurs who inspired him to dream big. By the time he was a sophomore at Purdue University studying economics, he was ready to bring his idea for a unique ice cream and donut shop to life, leading to the creation of Chill's, which started in a converted shed and has grown into an energetic brand with a super loyal following. Today, we're going to be talking about the homegrown hustle in the early years of starting this business, how Chill's became a social media superstar, and the sweet success that's on the horizon. Janzin, welcome to Get In.
Welcome. And wow, what an intro. Somebody has done their research because I did not tell you a lot of that. So I'm impressed. I really am.
Jenna on my team, she kind of lays the groundwork, and she is an grade A internet sleuth.
Well done, Jenna.
Yeah.
You did. Wow. You didn't even have to say that, and you shouted her out.
Absolutely. You got to give the team credit where. So I go in there and look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, and I put together like North Manchester Squires and things like that. But she does her research. Well, let's start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You grew up North Manchester. Yep. And you go to Purdue, and exactly when everyone's looking for their grade A internship, you choose to go the opposite way and start an ice cream shop.
It's not really a direct transition, I will put it that way. I had definitely been starting other things prior to that. I was trading stocks heavily at one point. Not good. I mean, not good. The grades definitely were not benefiting from that semester. So, there was clothing involved. There was anything. I've tried starting all sorts of different things, and I just kind of saw an opportunity. And I think my sister might have even said like, hey, you should start an ice cream shop. And I was like, that's interesting. Okay.
Why ice cream? Like, out of all the things you're going to start, why would she say start an ice cream shop?
Well, in my eyes, what I see is, looking back now, I don't think I necessarily saw it then, but I am a people person, and there's nothing more people related than ice cream, in my opinion. So they kind of just go hand in hand so well. You're dealing with positive interactions with customers, and I love it. I love meeting new people. I love talking to new people, and I love just making people happy. And turns out ice cream and now donuts, they do a pretty good job at that.
Dude, I will give people a public service announcement. So you've probably seen Janzin on your TikTok feed if you have TikTok. It's just like customer service videos. And everyone, I think the first thought is there's no way he's that nice. We've been hanging out for like an hour or so now. Off air, he is actually that nice, like super energetic. There's not many people, I'll say, that can bring the energy. I like to bring energy.
Totally.
And I have found a worthy adversary or a friend here in the energy department. So
friend for sure.
Yes.
And that's the thing. It's, you're going into this, you don't know this person. What's this going to be like? And I would have to say the same with Nate here. He is pretty darn awesome. So better in person, I would argue.
Oh boy, let's go. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if people, again, go back to the TikTok feed, you've seen all the cool customer service things, but you're a sophomore in college at the time, and a lot of people are looking to get that internship or go work at a big company.
Great point.
And when does this dream or thought or idea become reality?
At the time, I was in my sophomore year, majoring in economics. So I'm taking all of these courses. I'm looking for internships at this point because I'm like, what do I want to do this summer? And I was interviewing for a number of different things. different investment firms, like that kind of stuff. Not real exciting. And I was just like, do I want this? The answer I kept coming to was no. So then the next thought I had to have, and the realization I had to come to was, well, if I'm not doing that, what am I doing? And then, there in the last few months of the semester, I was like, what am I going to do here? And I started researching and trying to find something that I felt really suited me. And with all of that, kind of stumbled on ice cream. And, I kind of just jumped in head first. I didn't work at an ice cream shop prior to this. Looking back now, it probably would have been pretty beneficial to go into something that you have a little bit of experience in. But hey, I'm a believer you can learn, and there's no better way to learn than on the job.
Yeah, right.
And when you have no choice.
Yeah, when you have to figure it out. Backs
Yeah.
against the wall, like no time for stopping. And you have to go learn it. So what's the first step? Someone wants to go, there's a sophomore that's listening that maybe wants to start an ice cream shop in their town. What's the first thing? File an LLC, build a business plan?
Build a business plan to a degree. I think it's one of those things. I think people can sometimes get too caught up on the plan. I think initially you should really just be more focused on action and just starting. I mean, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, like at all. But I found people that did. I found people that had worked in ice cream shops. Hey, would you like to, come work with me and help build a business here? So I relied heavily on other people's advice, and I just started calling around, talking to the city. Hey, if I were to do this, what would be the steps forward? Finding anyone that might be older or is a little further along in their entrepreneurial journey and reaching out to them and seeing if they could, lend a hand or have any help.
Yeah. Who was the biggest help or mentor or inspiration along the journey?
Genuinely, I mean, I can't think of any of this without just thinking about my family. They have been there through all of it. When I needed a hand, hey, can anyone come help me put in this freezer, or just anyone to bounce ideas off of? It was my family. And I'm so grateful for that. They're easily the most important relationships that I have and still till this day. And I wouldn't be here without them.
Dude,
and that's the truth.
Entrepreneurship is lonely.
It is
like
very
it looks
lonely.
it is really fun. I love it. And I wouldn't change for anything. But when you don't have a co-founder or
totally.
board or anything like that, it's like, shit, like, is this the right move? I don't know. Like,
it's just
and it's
you
like, do you
and
like
you're
this?
winging it.
And you're just figuring it out. So one, kudos to you and your family for being there.
Genuinely.
Well, take us to the moment. You're calling around, and like, when do you say like, this is green light? Like, let's go.
2018, and it would have been early that year. We opened July 1st in 2018. And
you're already missing half the summer.
Already, right? It's like the planning, it's like everything. And that is the word of advice I would give to anyone listening is it's going to take longer than you think. It's going to take more money than you think. It's going to take more effort and just everything. It's going to take more. I'm like, okay, well, all right. Half the summer is already wiped. We got to get open. We don't have any choice any longer. So it was a few months prior to that, really. I mean, I would say I probably had like 5 months of where I was like really trying to sort out, okay, how are we going to make this happen? And just winging it. And I ended up setting up a shed in the back lot of my sister's business. They are awesome. They're crushing it in their own lane. And I'll absolutely get to that because that's a whole nother story right there. But they literally let me set up a mint green shed in their back lot. Like, and that's not like something like when I went to them about that. I mean, I think they probably had to wrap their head around it a little bit, but I'm so grateful. I genuinely, I couldn't have done this without them. I mean, that is the truth.
Basketball fans, listen up. March starts here in Indy. We are hosting the 2025 Barbasol Horizon League Basketball Championships. Mark your calendars for Monday, March 10th and Tuesday the 11th when the top 4 teams in men's and women's basketball will square off at the Corteva Coliseum at the Fairgrounds. Right now, Cleveland State leads the men's standings with Purdue-Fort Wayne right on their heels. For the women's, Purdue-Fort Wayne is at the top just out in front of Green Bay. And we're going to get 6 incredible basketball games over a 2-day span. 4 semifinal games on Monday and both finals held on Tuesday. Action starts at noon both days, and you can buy tickets on the Horizon League website or on Ticketmaster. You also need to know about the all-new Horizon League individual membership. Fans can become Horizon League members and receive a unique Indy-centric shirt, Horizon League glassware, championship tickets, and much more. Check out all the details at horizonleague.org/Indy. Remember, March starts here in Indianapolis at Corteva Coliseum, March 10th and 11th. I will see y'all out there. So it's 2018. Your sister allows you to set up a mint green shed in her parking lot so you can start serving ice cream as a sophomore in college.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound the best. And actually, sisters. So Josie and Gentry, they both started something that really is incredible in its own lane. Truly, they're florists, but then it's also a boutique alongside it. So, and I'm talking, they do some of the most incredible floral arrangements for weddings. Literally doing my sister's wedding this weekend, and when I tell you it is the most insane floral arrangements I've ever seen, it's wild.
What's it called?
Rhinestones and Roses.
Ooh, good name. Hey, that's a good floral name and a good boutique name.
That's right. Like, it's got a good vibe going on.
It definitely
for sure.
seems every boutique, right? Hand up. I don't shop at boutiques. I'm not a boutique guy.
What?
No, not me.
Okay.
But like they're always like ivy and ember or like rhinestone and roses. Like I love it. It's just like it plays. It plays so well. And that's in North Manchester?
Yeah. So that is in North Manchester, but they actually, so they're ahead of me. They have got another store in the Southwest Fort Wayne area too. So and like I said, it's just they just do incredible stuff. They use flowers that literally I've never even seen before. You're like, I didn't know this was a thing, and they're making these awesome arrangements with them. So, but they literally let me set up in the back of their lot, and having lots of cars coming into their parking lot at all times of the day, because with ice cream you're open late. So it's just
How many square feet was your shed?
not a lot. Few hundred. Yeah,
Ooh.
it's
Like 2 people fit inside, 3 people. How many people? How many employees? Or how many people can work it?
You've got enough space where you can move around. I mean, we had all the facilities. You would walk inside the shed and you would not realize that it was a shed. I mean, it was fully done up. Flooring, insulation, drywall, lighting, like the whole deal. It really was very well done. And honestly, I still love this shed. I still have it. Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
dude. We'll have to bring that up and put that on the show. I got a picture of the shed pulled up. A great
Absolutely.
front. I mean, half your square footage is that front porch, dude.
Yeah, honestly, I had to really consider whether or not I wanted that front porch, but I feel it was worth it.
Okay, so walk-up window.
Walk-up window. So we have a walk-up ordering window, and then the one beside it is to pick up your order. And I relied heavily on that shed for years.
How much of your personal money did you have to invest to get this business off the ground?
I mean, genuinely, it was everything. And I will say, thankfully, at the time, a shed was not going for what it is going
the shed
for.
market's
It's like
crazy
actually
these
insane.
days.
I'm just curious. I was like, what are things going for? I mean, I'm talking 3 times what I paid, and I'm talking it was a few thousand then. Now, I'm like, I don't know that I can just afford to go get a shed right now.
Isn't that crazy? Like, the majority of sophomores in college, I think, aren't willing to take a risk and spend a few $1,000s
that's fair.
on whatever the thing is.
That's fair.
I think, do you know Sam Parr? Have you heard of him? He started the hustle that sold the HubSpot. He's like a tech guy.
Yes.
Right. His first gig that he talks about was a hot dog cart. I think he was in Nashville on Broadway or wherever around there, around Vanderbilt, slinging hot dogs.
That's awesome.
From slinging hot dogs, I think he sold HubSpot for $30 million or something like that.
That's
but like
crazy.
getting your start somewhere in entrepreneurship.
Totally.
Everyone, and I remember, every great entrepreneur has those like early hustles
just
that
random
and
things.
it doesn't pan out. You sold some stuff on the internet. You just tried multiple iterations of whatever entrepreneurship is to find the thing where your lane is.
Absolutely.
So July 1st, you're like, this is our official launch day.
Yep.
You flip open the sign and lines out the door.
It was chaos. Oh yeah, we are back off the road. We pretty much had a line all the way out to the road. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never even worked in an ice cream shop. I'm over here slinging ice cream. I mean, loading people up. If they came that first week, they got a deal. I will tell you. I mean,
$2 for a gallon of ice cream.
Genuinely, we're just trying to scoop the ice cream and get people on their way. I was bringing in family members. Hey, Gentry, Josie, sorry, close your business. I need some help. Jurgen, Journey, everybody.
How big's your family?
So there is 5 of us in total.
4 girls, 1 boy?
So two. Okay. So it's Jurgen, Janzin, and then Journey is the youngest. She's getting married, and then Gentry and Josie. So there's It's a lot.
That's a
But
crew.
At that point, I mean, I was like, all right, we're bringing in everybody.
All hands on deck.
It's all hands
How
on
did you
deck.
build that hype around it?
Well, the one thing, and the one thing I am thankful for, is that's a community that I grew up in. My family grew up in, and everybody knows us one way or another. I mean, that's just the truth. If you're from a small town, you get a lot of times that's how it is. So if something is happening, people are gonna find out about it.
And small towns love it even more when it's like when a local.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
There will be times when an outsider, and you're like, oh, that's the outsider's business. Like, I don't
And
know.
it's crazy.
You have to
but
feel it
that's
out
real.
a little bit.
That really is. That's
Yeah.
a real thing.
So I grew up in Bourbon, and it's like similar, and you always got to test it out. So Bourbon Street Pizza is like our big thing, even though the founder of Bourbon Street is from Bremen, which we don't talk about. But like having our own pizza spot that then got franchised around. I love that. You build this hype. People in the community are supporting you, and you're just figuring it out as you go.
Absolutely. Still figuring it out.
Oh,
as I
amen.
go.
Right. And then so July comes to August. You're a sophomore. Like, hey, this was fun. I got to sell, liquidate everything. What's the plan there?
So ultimately what I ended up doing, we get to the end of that season, you'd call it. I think I went through September, maybe even October. But at this point, August hits. I mean, I'm going back to school. So what I ended up doing, I made it so we were only open on the weekends for that period of time. And thankfully I did. Even then, I had team members that were really doing an awesome job. And a lot of times, there were some times where I wasn't even able to come home to work in the shop. So I thankfully had awesome people even then that I was able to rely on that really did an amazing job just keeping the place open and keeping it going. But I mean, there were so many instances where I'd be in, my political science class and I'm getting a call from my ice cream distributor. Hey, where are you? What's going on? And the professor's like, what the heck's going on here? Like, what are you doing? Like, get off the phone. And I'm like, look, I need my ice cream. Like, what do you want me to do here? So, there's many kind of fun memories. Fun maybe is not the right word, but
Now they're fun.
Memories that stand out.
You look back and you're like, we made it through that. We did it. Yeah. Okay, so then, go through another full school year, kind of open on the weekends, and then, hey, we're going to be open early this year.
Exactly. So we end up closing. So we're just seasonal. And in my eyes, that was what I found to be an interesting concept about the ice cream business at that time is you can get away with just being seasonal, and that would allow me to then focus that time on school, and improvements for next season. And it just kind of made it to where it wasn't like so overwhelming that I just wasn't able to keep up on either. And it kind of did give me a little bit of balance. Like you do have those, couple months there in the spring where you're open and you're also still going to school and going back and forth all the time. But for the most part, it was much more manageable than what it could have been.
Did you always know you wanted to keep it going? Or you're like, hey, that was fun, but I want to go get my big boy internship now?
Well, and that's actually funny that you say that because I knew I wanted to keep it going pretty much from the get-go. I was like, if I'm doing something, I'm not just doing this to then just toss it aside. So I always felt like it would turn into something. I didn't know exactly what that would look like. There was definitely an air when people would ask me about said ice cream shop. And you'll get that with anything. I'm sure you had that when you initially were starting what you're doing now. And they're like, wait, whoa, you're making money from that? Like you're making a living?
Dude.
How about that?
Crazy.
It is. It really is.
The amount of people that are like, oh, so like, what do you do full time? And I was like, I run a media company.
This is it.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. There is that air. And I can remember it till this day and I'll never forget it. And, I don't get it much anymore. I think people realize, oh, he's doing it. Like whether he's failing or succeeding, he's doing it, and that's what's happening. But at the time there was definitely like what do you really plan to do? And I'm like, scoop ice cream.
What's your real job going to be?
Yeah. Like, is that okay?
So give us like a percentage of growth, right? Like year one, you're open for a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
Right. And then year 2 comes around. How does business go?
In year one, and I've not touched on numbers too much, but I'm definitely open to doing that, especially like for those early years to really just like help people grasp like what this even was at the time. But that first year, I mean, we're not even open the full season. And you're looking, it was probably somewhere in like the $15,000 to $20,000 range, which
is sick for a sophomore in the summer.
I'm like, this is incredible. And now that is not net. Okay. So I,
No.
and when we're putting heaps of ice cream on people's cones, whatever it is, there is real cost in ice cream. So there wasn't a whole lot left,
No, but I do think it's cool for a sophomore in college to be like managing a business that's doing over $10,000 a year. And you're like, oh, you're worried about your margin. You're worried about this thing. And
you're exactly right.
It's like your professional. It's like your real world MBA.
You're learning. You are absolutely learning. And I learned so much that first season. And then the next season, we're a little over double that. I think, I can't remember an exact number, but that season was kind of nerve wracking because, there wasn't a lot left at the end of that season. And I'm like, well, what the heck? That's where I really had to learn hard about margins and keeping track of your costs. And that's something like people just don't really talk about. It's something that you kind of have to learn on your own. I didn't have anyone reaching out to me telling me, yes, you should keep this, this margin, you should be looking for this percentage that, you should be able to keep. You should be able to get a 10% profit at the end. I didn't have that.
Oh, by the way, then the tax man comes at the end and you're like,
well, but then what do I get?
Yeah.
Like, what do I get, Uncle Sam?
Yeah.
And he laughs. Okay.
Exactly.
So.
Well, and did the year one, whenever anything new opens in a small town, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so shiny and new and cool.
Totally.
Did the luster wear off a little bit for year two?
Oh yeah, totally. And you're going to have that like with anything you do. You are going to have this peak initially. It is legitimately with any business. People are curious. They're going to come, they just want to know what this is. But to actually build a habit with someone is where things get very interesting because initially people are going to be like, oh, that's new. I want to come check it out. Absolutely. But the next time somebody thinks about ice cream, how are you going to get them to think of you and not the 10 other shops that they could go to?
Yeah. Is there in North Manchester, is there other ice cream shops?
Yes. Honestly, now I don't even know how many there are, but there are.
In North Manchester?
Yeah.
What's the population of North Manchester?
It's like 5,000 some. I was like, oh, maybe it's up to like 6,000 at this point, but no, it's like 5,000 some. And there are a few different places and I have nothing but respect. Like I truly hope they succeed. It is a grind. It is not easy being in a small community. You have to diversify. You got to get creative to get people in the doors. And that really is what turned me to social media. I mean, that is the thing because I knew this business doesn't just work relying on a small community. Even though they are very supportive, there's so many amazing, customers that frequent us all the time. But it's just
it becomes a small business then, right? And it's like
totally.
but if you're a young and it seems like ambitious, young guy, maybe it's not the dream for the next 60 years to run Manchester's premier ice cream shop.
Yes.
Like heaven forbid we have a little bit more ambition than that, right?
Yeah, and so I'd be honored to do so, but there are other ideas and ambitions for sure and plans that I have with the business itself. So it, in my eyes, was a place to learn.
Okay.
And that has been what has been instrumental in now what I'm looking for, in the future for growth.
And learning is cool when you're in college, right? Like, you do this thing, you learn. Okay. Then it gets to be second semester, senior year. Everyone's getting their big jobs with salaries, benefits.
Oh yeah.
Signing bonus. And the Purdue engineers, right? Yeah, I just signed my deal for $100,000. Janzin, what are you doing?
Oh, I worked for free this year. Matter of fact. No, and that was the situation. But here was the kicker. I graduated right in the heart of COVID. I had all of these, some of my best friends lose these awesome job opportunities because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
There were so many of my friends that were literally like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Do you need an ice cream scooper?
And I was like, well, at least I've got this. Genuinely. So it was almost different at that time. But obviously, of course, as time goes on, I'm not just raking in the money. And frankly, that was never what it was about to me. So I'm looking to build something that's lasting, that's here for generations. Like that's where my head is at. And I knew initially, it's like, look, this isn't a big money maker for me. And that's okay. I am at a place in my life where I don't need a lot. Okay, I drive a beat up minivan and I love that darn thing. I tell you what, that's like it. That's all I own right now. Beyond the business,
live at home?
I used to for the longest time. And I got to the point, I was like, all right, a
Mom,
line's got to be,
Dad, I gotta go.
You know what? I will say this though, like not even to drag on them at all. I am so grateful for that because people like ask and talk about privilege all the time. That's true privilege. Like having supportive parents and siblings. I mean, like just literally so understanding. They've started businesses themselves, so they get it. And such a grind, so it's like I was not making money for years. Genuinely. I mean, I'm like living off nothing. And I'm so grateful that I had that time, because now, where the business is kind of picking up a little bit, it's like I'm still frugal. I'm keeping track of things for sure.
Was there ever a moment where mom and dad were like, Janzin, you're so talented. Like, you got to give up this ice cream thing or just do it on the side. Like, go do something bigger.
And here's the crazy part. Not once. Not once. And it almost like puts me to tears, like thinking about that, because I just hear from friends and honestly, people I don't know. I just see their stories on social media and they just say that. And they're like, people in their family having such negative self-talk. I couldn't have a more supportive family. And that is the true privilege that I'm like genuinely aware of, because they kept me going in some moments, where I ended up purchasing my first location beyond the shed. And when I tell you it's a dump, I mean, I didn't know.
What building was it?
So it had been in our town for decades, okay? And it had been out of commission for a few years. It used to be a donut shop, but they had really, not even to drag on them a lot, but they had really let it go per se. And I discovered just how badly they had let it go once I had, of course, already purchased the place. But I got into it and it was just surprise after surprise. And just a very old building. It used to be a diner initially, which I think is incredible. And it was from my understanding. I keep having people come in and tell me more about the place. But my understanding, it was from the 50s. I love the music from that era. That's what we play in our shop. And I was able to keep the original bar stools. I was able to keep a lot of original stuff in the store. It's the original flooring. So there's these cool things about it that I absolutely love and I'm so grateful for. But though, that year where we were building that tested me in ways I had never been tested before. And in ways where it was really like, I knew I had it in me. I knew I could persevere. I knew I could push through. But that showed me that I could. And till this day, it's like at this point, I'm like, you know what? I can take on anything, because when you're trying to figure out how to, make payroll or whatever it is, and you've got $50 in your bank account and you've got to make thousands by Monday, it's scary. It'll make you wake up. It'll take you to places that you didn't know that you even had. And I certainly ask others to put themselves into situations like that. Now, what I will say is this: I don't recommend it for anyone. I don't, but there is this feeling of being alive that I've never experienced before in my life. It's all of those lessons, though, that have really carried over. And now I just genuinely, succeed, fail, I'm going to learn either way. And I'm not letting any failure stop me, and we're just going to keep pushing, and that's where we're at.
And it's awesome that you have such a supportive family that gets
So
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I don't think, when I think about families that might not be as supportive, it's not that they don't want you to succeed.
Yeah,
it's
totally,
usually
totally.
that their risk tolerance is just
Totally.
so low, and why would you take the safe route? And that's all.
Totally.
Like the majority of entrepreneurship is hard work and risk.
That's a really great point too, because I don't even say that as it's a negative to all of these parents. Not at all. My goodness. I would say most people, when they were looking at me at the time, they're like, are you okay? Like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm grateful that I have these people around me that saw something in me that maybe even at times I didn't see in myself. And that, I think, is kind of where I'm getting at with those statements. But I totally understand, so many parents being like, they just don't want to see their child fail. And boy, do I get it. But unfortunately, the best lessons in life are through failure.
Or the opportunity of failure, right?
That's
where it's
so
where
true.
you
What a
have
great
to
point.
figure it out.
That's a great point.
You're on that tightrope, and it's like, You got two choices. You can either fail or figure it the heck out, right?
Yes.
Quick pause in the action. Do you want to be able to submit questions to my future guests in advance? Do you want access to exclusive discounts with our Hoosier partners? Do you want to make sure you're invited to all of our private in-person events across the state? If you answered yes to all or any of those questions, you need to head to Instagram and subscribe to our Get In Insiders channel. For $4.99 a month, you're going to be able to ask our guests questions, get great discounts, and above all, help us fund all of this amazing Indiana content that we create. Head over to Instagram at Nate Spangle and subscribe. Now let's get back to the episode. Okay, so take me to a few, I feel like there's a few inflection points within this business, right? One, going from shed to location.
Yes.
Getting that all figured
that was
out.
a big one.
And then the next inflection point is when the social media game started to fire up.
It has to be.
So take me through. You buy this building.
Yep.
It's a total dump. No offense, right? It's like you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to go through that build out?
Let's see. So I acquired that place literally in like the last week of 2021. And I actually surprised my family with it. I was like, oh, yes. They knew that I was interested in the place. And the only person that really knew was my dad at the time. Because I was like, hey, I need some, I want to make sure I'm not doing anything dumb here. He was really the only one that I had kind of filled in. And by the time we got to it, I just surprised everybody with it. So everybody showed up. They're like, why the heck are we here? And I'm like, well, this is where Chills is going to be. So that was kind of a fun experience. That was a really, really big inflection point. And then all of 2022 up until May, I opened with drive-through only at that location May 1st. But there were some really critical moments that happened prior to that opening. And I got to the point where, like we talked about, I ran out of money. I had nothing left. I mean, the budget that I had that I was like, okay, this will be enough, to get this place going. It accounted for, I don't even know if I got through the whole kitchen with that budget. And I did something that till this day, I will be talking about in every storefront that we put up. We did something called Donut Saturdays. I had, thankfully at the time, another kitchen that I was leasing. I still have. I was able to produce donuts at that kitchen. So I'd be up all night. And shout out to my brother who would literally come in after his job and come and help me make donuts. There were nights where we were there till way later than I would have liked to be. There were some nights where literally it was an all-nighter, and then in the morning, go to that location and sell the donuts out of the back of my minivan. Okay. That was how I got by.
Donut Saturdays.
Donut Saturdays. And I kid you not, if you did not know what was going on, you just see this kid out here with the back of his minivan open and a huge line of cars going around the property onto the road. People are probably like, what kind of certain situation is going on here? Cops are probably like a little...
What's in the donuts?
That's right. And thankfully nothing but sugar and other just excellent ingredients. But it was just such an incredible time. And that was such like a big moment for me to be like, okay, we've got something here, and I'm so grateful for the community at that time because that community helped me pull through, truly. And so we opened May 1st, drive-through only, and then we built from there. By the end of 2022, we were fully open.
When does the journey into... So for listeners out there, the big inflection point,
yes,
the huge inflection point of this business is when Janzin's content starts going viral on TikTok. We're talking tens. We didn't do the full math, but probably closing in on 100 million views.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know to say right now. I've just kind of kept posting. I'm kind of just in that zone
which is good, right?
Yeah, you just like you get a little success, and I had been posting for years. Okay, I was documenting stuff, building the location, all the ins and outs of that location, documenting just everything. So I was putting it all out there, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just sharing it with people like, hey, this is the situation that I am in. If anyone wants to watch this, great. If not, I hope that I can look back on it in a better situation and be able to laugh and just see this time in my life. So it wasn't until a few months ago where I had been posting. At this point, I would post daily, okay? I started out that page, my Janzin Cripe page, with day in the life of an ice cream shop owner videos. And I posted them every single day for almost 90 days straight. And then from there, I just posted all kinds of other stuff. Just didn't matter. And then a few months ago, I really, really started going at it. And I started posting customer service interactions, like just genuine interactions that I would be having on camera, off camera. Like I didn't change who I was for the camera kind of interactions. I just videoed them. And that is what took off. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even feel like that was some crazy thing. This is how we treat people at Chills. And that is what took off. It was actually kind of eye-opening to me because, of course, yes, I go places. Yes, I understand that maybe they don't put that level of attention on that aspect of the business that we do. It was just really eye-opening to me. And it has created this thing that I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, right. I'm like going through his page and it's like the after school ice cream drive-through video.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's just like all the comments, this guy's so polite. This guy's so like, dude, it's real. And it's so crazy what people want to consume content-wise.
It really
it's like
is.
you could spend
I would have never guessed.
hours. You could spend hours developing the perfect video. And then like 12 people watch it. And then it's just you in a drive-through being like, this is how we serve people. And they're like, oh, that's what it's like to run an ice cream store.
100%. I mean, and I have had people asking me like, how did you find what to post? And I'm like, I was just posting. I didn't have an idea. I was just saying, hey, let's throw it out there. Let's see what sticks. And then we'll literally just go from there. And turns out customer service was a big part of it. And now I've really been trying to give a little more behind the scenes as to like genuine like hurdles that I'm going through trying to build this business. Just signed the lease for our second location, jumping over these hurdles that I have to get that process started, to start building out that space. And I'm just trying to share all of that with everyone because I think that's the stuff people want to see. They just want to see the real stuff. You don't need to just sugarcoat everything. I think people kind of want to see.
Well, but you do sugarcoat things for a living.
Oh, you're good, Nate. You are
yes,
right.
That's right. That's going.
That's
we're
good.
We're gonna clip that one. We're gonna clip that one.
You should.
No, dude, I love it. Like, it is raw, authentic content that you're not gonna get this from Dairy Queen. The one company that does something similar that I think is pretty cool, but it didn't start from the company, it started from within, is Papa John's.
Interesting.
Have you seen the pizza guy?
Yes.
He's
Why can't I think of his name?
I can't think of his name, but he does the tricks with the pizza. And then like
awesome.
now he's signed by the company, it feels
It's incredible.
Like. And it's like, oh, people want to know what's going on. Like everyone remembers those stories too. Like maybe you worked in a kitchen as your first job and then you grow up and you're like, oh, we used to have all these shenanigans and stuff back in there. And like, and valuing customer service and seeing a family owned business and you know, just growing the small business. It's awesome. It is really, really good content to watch. It will make your sweet tooth go off, right?
For sure.
But it's awesome stuff. And learning about growing a business, how you've been doing this. When did you graduate? 2020?
So I graduated in 2020. Didn't even have a graduation from Purdue. Like they were like, okay, here's your diploma. I wasn't even done with classes at that point. So graduated in 2020 and then genuinely just focused all of my time on the business. And that's, where I just really started pushing and then definitely putting out more content. And that is like where I found my love for making content. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy making videos. And that has been the thing that I didn't expect from the business because I didn't necessarily start with this like burning passion for ice cream. It's turned into one, I will say that. There are so many other interests I have discovered from starting this business. And I will say this, that is another little tip right there. People always ask like, how do you know where to start? Like what made you choose ice cream? Like you're saying, focus less on the idea. I mean, obviously you want it to be a sound idea. You want it to be something that actually has ability for growth, but focus less on what industry and just focus on starting something because you'll figure out really quick if this is something that you actually want to keep pursuing or not. And that's what I have found. Maybe other people do it differently, but trial and error.
Whether it was ice cream or coffee or pastries, a restaurant could have been, digging ditches.
Totally.
Shout out Will.
Shout out
right?
Will.
But like whatever the thing is, just go out and do that. And you're going to learn. It's almost like a river. I kind of think about like
that's a great
where
point.
It's going to flow where it's easy and you're going to figure out the way to survive. And it'll lead you like because it started with ice cream, then you add donuts, then you add more food, right?
Exactly. So because we're in this small community, I was like, okay, well, we definitely do need to diversify a bit more. So we brought in what I personally believe are some of the best grilled cheese out there. We do something, we call it a Toasty Joe. It is so dang good. So we take our all cheese grilled cheese, But then sandwiched in between the cheeses is our homemade sloppy Joe. Now, I will say this. I don't recommend eating it while driving. Very messy. We have
Don't
our own
Toasty Joe and drive.
No, that's right. Homemade garlic and herb butter that goes on top of it. We have homemade dipping sauces to dip it in. It is stinking good. Like, this is not concessions food. I will make that very clear.
And that's what most ice cream joints do. They have a little fryer or like a little microwave or something.
And I will say this. I don't blame them. I mean, it is a lot of work. We have to keep a strict schedule with things to make sure that we have enough of our homemade sloppy Joe on hand. We do homemade mac and cheese because I tasted every type of bagged mac and cheese out there, and they all tasted like exactly that they came from a bag. So we ended up realizing, you know what, we just need to do our own homemade mac and cheese. You know, our crazy tots are actually what have really gained some traction on TikTok. There are a large size of our seasoned tater tots, and then the homemade sloppy Joe cheese sauce, and then our homemade chill sauce on top of those. So again, not for the weak, but they're definitely amazing.
Everyone talks about pursuing passion.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, go do what you're passionate about. I think if you're a creator, whether it's creating videos, creating ice cream, treats, whatever it is, like you can discover this passion for creating anything.
Absolutely.
And just like pour everything you have into it. Because who knows, in 5 years, the ice cream business might be going really well. And you're like, you know what? I want to do a 5-star restaurant.
Yeah.
Or I want to do, I don't know, like direct to consumer. You already ship donuts, right?
Totally. Yeah. So that's actually even something else I really haven't even touched much on of how that went. It is mind-blowing to me. I mean, we shipped donuts everywhere.
How many donuts did you ship?
We shipped, I think, around 50 boxes of donuts. So in each box, you could have 1 or 2 boxes or buckets of our donuts because we ship them by the bucket. So, which to me, I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. I didn't know if 5 people would even get them because it was not cheap to do. It like very costly. I mean, we had to ship them with dry ice. You're shipping them in the insulated containers. So there are so many costs that I was like, is anyone, going to actually want these because of the cost? And I was just blown away by the fact that people did. And it was amazing to see. I mean, I've gotten photos from people literally sending a bucket with the New York skyline in the background in front of the North Dakota sign, Florida, Texas, California, Oregon. It's crazy.
And it's only available like seasonally, right?
So how we're doing it, because there is so much work involved. I mean, these are all homemade recipes. The donuts we're making, it's become now a donut drop. I actually haven't announced it yet, but there will be another donut drop coming at the end of this month. Journey and Will's wedding has kind of gotten in the way a little bit. It slowed me down. So, but I would say it's worth it. To wait. But yes, so we will be actually having another donut drop at the end of this month.
We should do a donut drop together this spring, summer, later on.
That'd be cool.
Because what flavors do you do?
We can do anything. I mean, we're making these donuts from scratch. So at this point, we have the knowledge to kind of start developing our own flavors, and we do. I mean, we have our own homemade blueberry donuts. We've got pumpkin donuts. We've got raspberry. We've got anything you can imagine we've probably either done or looked into. So
we should do a Hoosier sugar cream pie donut.
Okay.
And launch it as a collab.
That'd be hilarious.
And see how many people across Indiana we can get to purchase these donuts.
That'd be crazy. We could do some fun content with that too.
Dude, that'd be pretty fun.
That'd be a lot of fun.
We could do a taste test. I could come home and then I could go over to Manchester.
We could do video of the process, making the donuts, throw you in there, get you making some donuts. So absolutely, that sounds like a blast.
I got to get some drive-through orders going.
Oh, dude, 100%.
My first job.
That would be
Dude, my first job was at the McDonald's on Detroit Street in Warsaw.
No way.
And I worked the front counter in the drive-through there.
What'd you think? How was it?
I mean, I'm a people person, so it was fun. But you know what I'm talking about, right? I don't think it's there anymore.
I don't know.
It's the one right by Zimmer Biomet downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still there? Right by Center Lake Park.
Gosh, but I don't go to Warsaw enough to be somebody's going to be No, it's not you, dummy. You
Dude,
know, but
you
honestly,
can go back.
I'm
It
not
was
certain.
on my. It's actually still on one of my friends' Instagram for my first day of work. They came and visited
That's
me
amazing.
in my little McDonald's hat, and it's like, dude, it's a grind.
Yeah.
And like people,
It
I
isn't
hope
easy.
that people
It
are
isn't
nice
easy.
to, because it's like a family-owned restaurant.
Yeah.
Like I hope people are nice to you and your employees. People are not nice to McDonald's workers. They do not like you put on those golden arches hats and they hate you.
I
was
think
like, bro.
I'm grateful to say we don't deal with a lot of the negative. It does happen though. And that's definitely a theme of thing, that's a question that people ask, like, what do you do with a negative customer? And it's something that I tell all of my team members is the customer is always right unless they're not. And
You hear that?
I hate to say it, sometimes they're not right. I do not think it's okay to belittle one of our awesome team members. I don't think it's okay to project your negative energy onto us. But here's what I will say. We will be kind to you either way, no matter how you treat us. We will not just be somebody's punching bag. And I don't expect that out of any team member that works for us. And I am totally okay with them just like defending themselves. Like, I am okay if someone is extremely rude to you, like you have the right to be like, I am not comfortable taking your order. Like you can do that. I think that that's okay. I think we just got to this place in society where people are just like okay with just like raining on people in, their day-to-day jobs
Like
and
bringing
don't think about
whatever-
how they can make someone feel.
Yeah, bringing whatever negativity or like BS they have
Yeah.
going on outside of it, and then you're going through a drive-through and you're just like, and I'm just
Yeah, and then the opposite side of that, we're all human. We all have bad days. So our philosophy is we want someone leaving in a better mood than when they came in. And if they came in a great mood, they better be in an amazing mood when they leave. So that's kind of our philosophy.
Do you get haters in the comments?
Probably. I mean, every now and again, I definitely see something. I try to not read into it too much. Frankly, really at all at this point. If anything, I laugh. I think that's the moral of the story. I don't let the good comments get to me, and I don't let the bad comments get to me. But I will say this. If someone has a bad comment, but it is literally like a criticism, and I'm like, well, wait, Ricky over here from San Antonio, he's got a good point. It's like, okay, maybe we could actually do this better. So I am totally okay with constructive criticism. Like if there's something we can improve on, if there's something I can improve on, I'm all for it.
Dude, it's funny. Like you think about the content that you post is not controversial at all. Like
But people
ice
will
cream.
find controversy.
Dude, the content that I post, it's all about Indiana.
Yeah,
Just like
you're so
uplifting
positive.
stuff, right?
You're so positive.
And the amount of people that you can piss off that are just angry about, I don't know what. I love it. It's so funny. Like I see it all.
People actively choose to find negativity and in their day. It says more about them than it does about us. So as long as you kind of have that mindset, you'll be okay.
How significant has the rise in viewers and followers content been for Chills?
I have had this unwavering faith for whatever reason in myself, in this business, since I started it. Not seeing results. It might have been year 2 of opening, our opening day. It was raining. It was cold. I don't even know if I made $30. I mean, I sat there by myself for hours. I say this because I want to make it very clear of like how this has happened. Like this has not been some quick and easy thing. It is actively changing my life. And I don't say that lightly. I don't just say that for like some clickbait. When I tell you all of the people that I've met, all of the people that are coming from all over, like it literally almost puts me to tears. I've had this unwavering faith for so long and not like seeing any crazy results from it. And then all of a sudden like this growth happening and having all of these new people coming to the shop, it's incredible. And I was like, could this ever happen to me? And then when something even just on the small scale starts happening, it's really crazy. And I still like, honestly, I pinch myself because I can't believe it. I truly can't.
Dude, it's amazing. I mean, it comes down from keeping the positivity, continuing to work hard.
Totally.
Right? It's like if you have the
You don't
positivity
wanna let up now.
and the hard work, good things are going to come, right? And so talk to us about what's on the horizon. What's coming down the pipeline for Chills?
Right now, the focus is on the second location. Not everything that we do at our first location will be happening at the second. So the second location, I love it. It's a small space. I mean, we're talking 1,000 square feet, and I'm going to use every single square foot of that space to be utilized. And with that space, we will be sweets only. That's what, to me, that's what Chills is. It's always been that, but we're all about the sweets. We like making people feel sweet. We like them eating sweet things. It's just what we're about. And, so with that, I really want to dial in this concept. I want to get this down to a science, every aspect of what we do, figuring out the systems, the distribution. I'm working on very involved training programs right now. That is one of the most important things. Training people, because this is a people business. Frankly, we're all in the people business, whether we see it that way or not. We all are, especially myself. The way I look at it is this: if the people that are working with you and for you are not happy, how are they going to make customers happy? I have had to really look inward and say, okay, what can I do better? Because I can do things better. I want to make that very clear. I don't sit here and talk to you as some expert. I am learning just as anyone else is. And I'm sure you feel the same way about what you're doing. Is we're all just out here learning, and I'm just trying to figure out any way that I can improve this business before I would ever consider, something like franchising or, really just scaling up and, taking on investment. I don't know. I don't know what that path forward looks like yet, but I do know right now in the near future, the focus is on putting up an incredible second location and blowing people away.
I just had Scott Wise on the podcast. He was the founder of Scotty's Brew House.
No way. I'm going to have to watch that.
I think it would be for the stage that you're in and the industry that you're in, the advice that he gave back of like when you're young and you're crushing it and you're figuring out of like slowing down.
Yeah.
Like he was very quick to open his first 3, 4, 5, 10. And it's like every time he opened a store, he was like 1.5 million in debt for his restaurants. They were big restaurants, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, his advice was slow down, like continue to build good business, and it's not growth at all costs. So I would say you go back and listen to that one.
That's the thing. I've always felt like I'm such an impatient person, but at the same time, it's like I have to look at my actions and I'm like, okay, so far I feel we've been pretty patient, and I felt like it was time for that second location, So I love that. Thank you for that.
This is awesome. I've loved hearing this story. I mean, from the humble beginnings of a shed in the back of your sister's business parking lot to now opening up a second location, potentially some more on the right, shipping across the country.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
To think that tens of millions of people have seen your content. Tens of millions of people have seen something from North Manchester, Indiana.
That's wild.
Talk about economic development and tourism. Like, come on. What's the furthest someone's traveled to come to Chills?
Pennsylvania, definitely Kentucky. I've had people from all over. They've gone out of their way. Like they're on a trip going somewhere, but I've had Texas, I've had Nevada, I've had people from all over. And it really is so crazy.
And they're like, we found you on TikTok.
Found me on TikTok. Or like people reaching out that are like, oh wait, yeah, I've heard of this guy or I've heard of this place. And you're just like, that's so crazy to me. But it's only the beginning. And that's, I think, the part that's so exciting to me. So, we're going to keep chugging along. We're going to keep putting out great content. I'm going to keep bringing, all of you along with me because we are just getting started. I am 6 going on 7 years into this. And I have never been more motivated than I am right now in this very moment.
Heck yeah. I love it, man. All right, we have a few fun questions to round it out. This is our Younger Years segment. It's brought to you by our friends at Orr Fellowship. They're a great organization here in Indiana, helping develop young business leaders all across the state. Janzin, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self?
I think even then at 22, I definitely still was concerned with what others think about me. If I could tell anyone in that age range, and to be honest, that's not just somebody that's 22. I think a lot of us older even can deal with that same issue, is at some point you have to break free from the judgment and criticisms of others. Because if you don't, how can you ever actually be your true self? I am just at a place in my life where I've accepted it. I can't determine what someone else is going to think about me. All I can do and determine is what I am going to think about myself. So if I could give any advice, that's what it would be. Focus on you. What makes you happy? Because when you find that, life is unlocked and you will really start to make headway. Because if that passion is already there, the hard work, that comes easy.
I totally agree. I couldn't agree with this more, right?
Yeah.
On surface level, ice cream content, not that interesting, right? But if you're passionate and you're excited about it, it makes it worth watching.
I could watch anything. If somebody's excited about it, I have watched some crazy videos of people making sandwiches, whatever it is. That doesn't sound that exciting, but the way that they do it is extremely fascinating.
On surface level, the state of Indiana, everyone's like, not that interesting. Dude,
Yeah.
watch, like, I
There's a
love
lot
this.
going on.
I love this stuff. Like, I love going out and making the video and making it's like an art form. Like, it's just, it's amazing.
I will tell you this. I love your content because of that. I genuinely, I think you do an awesome job with that. I mean, I have been discovering things, you know, since we've kind of connected, I've been discovering things in Indiana that I'm like, oh snap, I didn't even know that that was happening.
Dude,
it's amazing.
People are going to be excited to hear about Chills. Like, I know, I almost feel like you probably have a broader national reach than you do state reach.
In some ways, it does feel that way. Definitely.
So then it's like when people in Southern Indiana are like, oh man, next time I'm driving up to Fort Wayne or South Bend, like I got to go zip over to North Manchester.
We'd love to have you.
Wabash County's got to be pumped up about Chills.
There we go.
All right, this is our lightning round. We're going to fire through some fun questions.
I'll try to make it quick.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite Chills order?
It's got to be our You're So Vanilla Donut Delight. It sounds not that nice, but it's actually amazing. So it's our delicious, creamy vanilla ice cream, the warm glazed donuts, hot caramel poured all over that. It is incredible.
You're So Vanilla. I love that.
That's right.
That's a good name. If there's ever a time where we can brainstorm name ideas too, I think that would be pretty fun.
Honestly, that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be good behind the scenes content.
Easily, and we could definitely do any kind of like limited edition anything. So there's all sorts of content that can be done. There's all sorts of fun stuff we could come up with.
This is good stuff. Next time I'm going home, we're gonna stop by.
Make it happen.
All right. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I mean, what are we doing here? It's ice cream.
You heard it here
I
first.
have to say, what am I supposed to say
His
to that?
nutrition.
It's ice cream or donuts, okay?
I didn't know if it'd be Toasty Joe's.
That's true. That is true. But it's got to be ice cream. Second, probably donuts.
The three main food groups, right? Ice cream, donuts, and Toasty Joe's. What else do you need?
What does one need?
Come on. All right. This is a question for you. What's the easiest part of being an entrepreneur?
All of it. Because I want to do this. I want to be here. I want to be having this conversation with you. And the hard work is easy. Like, that's the stuff that comes easy. So I don't know how to explain that. I don't even know if what I'm saying makes any sense.
When you're an entrepreneur, it does. Like, I think that entrepreneurship is maybe simple, but not easy. The idea of running a business is like, okay, that's a good point.
You
make the training, you make more profit than you spend. And if you're passionate about it, like the simple thing becomes easy.
I love what I'm doing. I love the people I'm doing it with. And that makes it really easy.
Is it ever too cold for ice cream in Indiana?
Well, you know, I keep coming back to that question. Is it too cold for ice cream? The answer I've come to is no. Absolutely not.
It's never, unless your heart is cold.
The countless people that come on a day-to-day basis when it is literally like negative wind chill and I'm handing out their What the Fudge Donut Delight and we've got snow coming across trying to take it away from us and they latch onto that thing, that tells me we're here to stay. We're not letting that weather get in the way.
What's the weirdest request a customer has ever made?
Where do I even begin on this? We'll keep it to just food orders at this point.
That'll be, you have to pay extra if you want to hear the uncensored
That's the premium
stories. Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I mean, people just come up with any sort of concoction you would ever imagine and the quantities of ice cream. Like, in no way would I even remotely judge someone's order. Like, I think that's something that people do get self-conscious about. Like, they'll come and it's like, you got to understand, we see it all. We've seen everything and we cheer it on. It's like, look, treat yourself. That's what this is about. I'm telling you, the kid was probably like 6, maybe 7, somewhere in there. He got a large ice cream. It wasn't even a Donut Delight at the time. This was years ago, but he had mint chip. He had Superman. I don't even know what the third flavor was, but maybe our coffee lovers. He's like 7. Getting this mound of ice cream that I'm talking is like literally a foot high because we don't mess around on our portioning. I will say that. But it was just incredible to see. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't see him finish it. I don't know where it went from there, but we made sure to hand it out okay. From there on, all bets are off.
Coffee, Superman, mint chip.
That's good.
Yeah. That is
According
champion fuel right there.
That's right.
Oh man. All right. And these are the same 3 questions that I asked to everyone that sits in the chair. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
We're not just a flyover state. There's a lot of good stuff here. There really is. There's a lot of incredible people like you that are out here hustling and doing things that truly are remarkable, I think there are things to see here. I think that there are attractions. And I will say this, I think we are getting to a place now where people are starting to realize that. A lot of the Midwest, I think people are starting to be like, wait a second, this is a pretty awesome place to live. There are things to do. Yes, there is a lot of corn. There is. But there are other things too. There's soybeans. No, but there really are. There are a lot of amazing things going on in Indiana. And I think people just have to come here and maybe just see that for themselves. Like, especially Indianapolis. Like, every time I come here, I discover something else, something new. I don't know. I don't know where else to go with that.
I think it goes both ways too. Whenever I leave Indianapolis, I also discover something fun and something new.
That's true.
And
so
that's
fair.
And
there are great things everywhere, maybe is the way to put that.
Yeah. Like, I love being from a small town because I know the roots and I know, I remember sitting there on Fridays and being like, dude, I'm so bored. And we would you have to be creative.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to figure out what to do in a cornfield with your buddy's truck and a sled or whatever, Like, you make some fun happen. And then I come to Indy and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm so appreciative of
True.
There's a Chipotle every 6 miles,
that's right.
Whatever, right? And then I go back home and I'm like, oh, but sometimes I miss the space. You can get a little bit of both. And the quiet,
it's
right?
a balance.
It's great. Janzin, what is a hidden gem in Indiana?
It's rhinestones and roses. What my sisters have going on is truly incredible. They just do the most incredible things with the flowers. I'm telling you, if you get a chance, look it up. But rhinestones and roses on Instagram, on TikTok, it's amazing. I mean, the flowers that they use and the amazing people that they have working with them. I mean, they have all sorts of clothing in all sizes for women. They have amazing gift ideas, and they're willing to help you. I think a lot of times, as a man, you can get a little overwhelmed, maybe a little intimidated when you walk in to a place like that where it's pink everywhere and it does look a little crazy. But they are literally willing to help you through the entire process.
The pink everywhere is crazy to the man is obsessed with mint green.
Yeah, okay, touche. You got me there.
No, I love it.
Because it is. Our entire building is mint green. The outside's mint green. The inside's mint green.
It draws the eyes. It's all about getting the eyeballs.
Amen to that. But
all right, so Rhinestone and Roses in North Manchester.
Absolutely. And Fort Wayne.
Oh,
so they've got the 2 locations.
Absolutely. And they're a florist as well as a boutique?
Yes. So they're both. They do it all, and they do it so well. If you're looking for something that is genuinely unique, you've got a wedding and you're like, I want something that is just a step above what I've maybe seen before, they will literally source some of the craziest flowers that you've ever seen and put them into the most incredible arrangements. Like, I'll literally have to send you some photos from even my sister's wedding. Like, it is insane, the stuff that they've been working on. So that's got to be the hidden gem.
I love it. That's a good one. And that's unique. We've never had a florist or a boutique or anything like that.
I love it.
So I'm here for that. Who's a Hoosier that we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
I mean, the other person that comes to my mind is good old Will Schuler. One, I'm so happy, Will, to welcome you to the family this weekend. It's actually crazy to think about. And he just fits in so well. And he's got it going on. He is doing some incredible things. I find it motivating. I see him doing his thing, and I'm like, we're in different lanes, very different lanes. But
well, for those who don't know, what does Will do?
He's in the excavation business. I'm talking everything. To be honest, I don't even fully know at this point everything that he is in, but anything dirt removal, dirt moving, roads,
bulldozers, excavation, heavy equipment.
He's let me drive one before, which I don't know why he let me do that, but it was crazy.
Does he also have his helicopter pilot's license?
Yeah, he's flown me around in that thing.
I saw him post on Instagram the other day that they were late to church or something.
Yeah,
they were
absolutely. So it's just, he's a great guy. I'm happy to see him, welcomed into the family, and happy to celebrate them this weekend. But they're just an awesome match, and it's just great to see.
It's a teaser. We're going to be dropping the Will Schuler episode here in a few, and the story of Willpower Excavation Construction, that what he's been doing is incredible.
It really is. Shout out Willpower. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to see, because this whole thing of how this came up, I don't even remember. Did we touch on this during the podcast of how I was like, yeah, I'm going and doing the Get In podcast with Nate, and of course he goes, well, wait, I think I'm doing that too. And then it just started this whole conversation.
That is crazy. I had no idea about that coming into this. I love it. The final thing, right? Yeah. With the talk about the TikTok ban, all things like this, you put in so much work. It's a true differentiator for you and for your business. And having this extra revenue stream has to be helping fuel growth and stuff like that. How do you feel like it's going to impact you?
I still am a believer that one way or another, it's going to stick around. I probably am wrong, but that's just, I guess, my positive outlook on things. But it definitely will. I mean, it would be naive of me to say that getting rid of this platform that I have started to see some traction on and really have garnered an audience on, having that go away, I mean, that's going to be a hit. I don't know how it wouldn't be. But if I've learned anything over the years, you just got to persevere. Life goes on. I'm going to keep making content. I definitely will be putting an emphasis on Instagram, but not only Instagram. I love the longer form content, and I want to start really bringing some of that, myself, and so on YouTube too. So that allows us to even utilize a little bit of both of the same styles of content.
Where can people find you?
Janzin Cripe on everything.
And then at Chillz Delights?
Chillz Delights, CHILLZ, and then Delights on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere.
Man, this was fun. Like, I've loved this conversation. I can't wait to go back home and try Chillz. Hand up, I haven't tried yet. I got to go next time I'm back up north. When you're driving through northern Indiana, whether you're going to South Bend, whether you're going to Fort Wayne, anywhere up in the area, Warsaw, Plymouth, all those places, stop through. Check out, or the new location is going to be in Fort Wayne. When's opening?
Right. It's hard to say. We've still got a lot to figure out.
When he sets the timeline, just push it back a few months, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
A few months later and over budget.
The goal would be, late spring, but honestly, if we can get it open and capitalize on any of the summer, that would be incredible to me, because we're starting with a blank slate, and there is a lot to do, and I'm going to be documenting the whole process. I have already put out some vlogs actually going through the initial planning phase, trying to determine the layout. So if you have any ideas of anything that you think could help me out, feel free. Shoot me a message.
What does the guy say? DM me.
Yeah, there we go.
If you know how to build an ice cream store, DM me.
That's right.
I love it, man. Dude, I've had such a good time on this convo. I just love the whole thing. I love your passion.
Well,
I love your customer service. Keep it up. Go follow him on Instagram. Go follow him on YouTube. Make sure subscribe. All that fun stuff. Because I mean, you have 80-something thousand followers. Like, if that does go away, like, we gotta be the Hoosier community and go, help rally around Janzin. Awesome. So appreciate you, man, and we're gonna check in the summer at Chillz. I appreciate you.
I really do, man. It's awesome what you've got going on here, and I'm just so grateful that we could make this happen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.